What's your top wow, that actually worked moment? Friend's dad a couple years ago has an old Windows 2000 computer with a dead hard drive. Normally this wouldn't be an issue as it's an old machine, just get a new one. But unfortunately this hard drive had the only backup copy of some very important family pictures. Since the external HDD they kept important file backups on died a few weeks prior. Went through every troubleshooting step I could think of in order to recover the data and nothing. As far as I could tell, drive was completely shot. So in one last desperate attempt I blew on the connectors and the ports, like I was trying to get my Northeast's cartridge to work, flicked the drive with my finger, and gave it a small dramatic speech about needing to stay alive for the family. Thing booted, stayed on long enough for me to grab the files, and then went dead. I half ran a stop sign that got ran a lot. Cop pulled me over. By half ran, I mean, I was doing a California slow roll through, and halfway through I saw the cop and stopped. He walks up, asked me if I knew I ran the stop sign. I said yes. Then, I don't know why, but I asked, may I have your mercy? He takes a step back, looked a little perplexed, runs my license, comes back, and just says today, I'm merciful. Stop running stop signs. Let off with a warning. Got a free watch offer from a decent company I bought from before, but you had to spend over $300. I added 4 of the free watches, which were usually $75 into the cart, which registered as $300. I went to checkout and a green -$300 appears in the bill. Added my shipping address and 2 weeks later they came. After hours of trying to repair a broken digital camera, I went to throw it away. I shrugged and dropped it on the linoleum. Heard a horrible crack, the motor turned on making a jackhammer sound before it clicked, and became a smooth hum. The camera worked after that. The first time my wife and I went out to eat with our new baby, he was sitting in a baby seat next to the table, and he started crying. I picked up a salt shaker and set it right in front of him, and said, watch this. And he looked at the salt and stopped crying. The entire grade went on a field trip to a bowling/arcade place to celebrate completing middle school. I was at a claw machine, not sure exactly what it's called. I'm talking about the machine where you direct a claw and try to grab a toy with it, and I asked my friend to look at the claw from the side to see if it was lined up with the toy I wanted. Just then, a boy from another class walked up and said to me, you know that those are a scam, right? I was flustered and hit the button to lower the claw without even waiting for my friend to tell me if it was lined up properly. The claw came back up with 2 toys and dropped them in the collection box. The boy was silent for a moment before saying, that was actually pretty good, and walking away. I'll never be so cool again in my entire life. I was a network engineer for an ISP at the time, and I had to get to a mountaintop where one of our towers were located to perform some maintenance. Had to ride a snowmobile all the way up there, and when I got there I realized I forgot the keys to the enclosure. Not to be defeated, I tried to pick the lock, and I got it to open, after about 20 minutes of trying. Yay, I didn't have to quit for the day, and got the work done. I was 12, and didn't know how to swim. I wound up in the deep end of a pool with dozens of other people who didn't realize I disappeared underwater. I struggled for a second, then remembered something my childhood friend told me. All you have to do to float is bend over in water. I never had the guts to try when she told me, but I was about to die. So, I just let my body relax and bent over in the water by my waist and floated to the surface, alive. I couldn't believe it was as simple as she said. I was flying somewhere. After everyone else was boarded, I went up to the gate agent and asked about being upgraded to first class. After a bunch of typing on her computer, she said sure and asked how I would like to pay for it. I said by asking nicely. To my amazement, she gave me a boarding pass for my new first class seat. I'm a straight dude with a lot of friends. One of them jokingly refers to me as King of the S. I was visiting some friends in another city a few weeks ago, and we try to go into a bar, but the doorman tells me there's a cover charge. I, being drunk, blurted out, but I'm King of the S, and he laughed and let me in. I repair slot machines for a living. One was frozen in game state with well over $1,000 on it. All the doors were closed, no jams in the dollar acceptor or the voucher printer, all the lights were on and the software just stopped mid-spin. I was thinking the game finally died and we'd need to reimburse the guest for their lost money, which can take a while if it's a ton of money like this. The guest jokingly asked if it just needed its butt kicked to work again, and I figured that since this game is old and durable, I'll indulge him. I kicked it, and the game came right back up, and the guest proceeded to win another $500 or so from that spin. Game was good for the rest of the day too, no errors or anything. I played it off as gracefully as I could, but I think that was my life's peak and I'll never look that cool to anybody ever again. My sister and I went to a show a while after she'd been going through some really rough times. I wrote the band a letter about her and asked one of their merch guys if he could deliver it to them, hoping they could just give her a shout out during the set or something. About 20 minutes later I got a phone call from the band's manager saying to go to the side of the stage between the opener and the headliner, and we got to watch the whole show from the side of the stage and they gave us a VIP meet and greet pass. The bassist came up and we learned that he was the one who pushed for us to get what we got. He was so nice about everything and he gave my sister a hug and posed for a photo with her. Told this girl in 2nd grade I was a psychic just to troll, and she didn't believe me, of course, so she asked me to predict something. I said, "You're going to scream right now," and as she was saying, "That's dumb. Why would I?" A kindergartner playing tag randomly fell and rolled back into her legs and she screamed. She was really scared of me after that, lol. Noticed an error on our website that would affect customers. Emailed the web team about it thinking they'd ignore it until someone higher up brought it to their attention. They read it, implemented changes, and my director to thank me for the input. Decided on a whim to make some peanut sauce. Peanut butter, soy sauce, a little water, and it was looking close but kind of clotting when I stopped stirring. Randomly remember learning that vanilla goes in cookies and BC it helps stuff mix. So add a dash of vanilla and the sauce instantly comes together. Felt like a mad genius. Trying to unclog a toilet without a plunger, poured some fabric softener in there just to see if it would help and it cleared it right up almost immediately. A little kid I was babysitting put a ton of toilet paper in and clogged the toilet. I couldn't find a plunger and I figured maybe it would soften the paper up and help clear the block, as I remembered hearing about dish soap helps break down fats in and helping to clear clogs. I poured it in, walked away to put the softener back, and walked back into the bathroom to hear a large glug and a totally clear toilet. My buddy was having a bad weekend, and we were next day buzzed at our college's cafeteria. We load up on tater tots and pizza and other state school level brunch items. He's bumming, so I say, "Hey man, see her over there? Cute, right? Sure. Okay, well I'm going to go hit on her. Be back in a second. I have no game with women. I'm nothing to look at. I smelled like Jagger and Marlboro Lights. I think I was wearing sweatpants and a button-up shirt for some reason. I'm not convinced I had ever hit on anyone before. It isn't me." The entire premise was she would throw her drink in my face or be horrified, and I would walk away laughing, and my buddy would get a laugh out of my hilarious public rejection. Anyway, when I got there I didn't know what to do, so we just talked. I sorta knew the girl she was with. I sort of addressed her, then flirted with her cute blonde friend. Nothing happened. I walked back to my table. Anyway, cute blonde friend and I had a class that semester, and with the ice broken I just talked to her like a non-retarded person. We have been married a decade now and have 2 kids. It was 1000% supposed to be a joke, so it didn't work, but I mean, it sort of worked. Fans on my old MacBook had stopped working. Searched on YouTube for a fix and found a video that said sometimes there can be lint/dust/etc clogging up the spinny mechanisms. A good thumping can get them back in order. The guy in the video proceeded to hammer the computer with his fists and the fans came back on. I shrugged, gave it a shot, and to my surprise, they hummed back to life and I was back in business. Still can't believe it. Went to check into a hotel and I asked him if there was a parking fee. He replied with yes, it's $15 a night. I asked, any chance you could waive it? He replied with, yeah sure. I was like, okay, thanks lol. Saved me $60. This was a very long time ago. I needed a C+ to graduate and didn't attend the final. So I went in and just told him I want a B to graduate, hoping he would let me retake it or at least negotiate to the point where I could make it a C+. So he tells me, sure, have a great summer. The first time I hit on a girl, we ended up sleeping together that night, and the whole time I was thinking, wow, that actually worked. The brakes on my crappy SUV went completely out one day, so instead of paying for a tow truck, my dad decided to connect my car to his pickup truck with a big chain, my car in front, dad in back, and have me drive to the mechanic shop. My car could still accelerate just fine, just no brakes whatsoever, so we called each other on our cell phones, and every time I needed to slow down or stop, I'd just tell him, and he'd hit the brakes on the pickup, which would either slow my car or yank it stopped. If he did it too abruptly, it was completely stupid, illegal, and definitely dangerous, but we got there just fine and didn't have to drop $100 on a tow truck, so it worked.